What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the No Huddle Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Jake.
And I am Kirtley.
We are back. All right, guys. We are happy to be back. It's been a long summer. We've been doing a lot of hot guy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least I have, Just kidding. No, we've been having some fun, watching the news. Not a lot to talk about, so, we've just been busy. But we're back. We're ready. Last night was the Hall of Fame game preseason. Dallas Cowboys versus Pittsburgh Steelers, and it got me excited. What about you, man?
Yeah, I was excited. Not much to talk about other than Cowboys don't have a good backup quarterback, and with Dak being hurt right now, that's kind of up in the air. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah,
probably nothing. They'll probably just roll with Gilbert, but
yeah, I loved watching Najee Harris get a few touches.
Najee looked good.
Yeah,
Johnson looked good. Claypool looked good. I don't think Juju played.
Juju didn't play. Johnson and Claypool. That's what I was like, man. Let's go. The thing is, it's weird because we didn't see Big Ben play. It's like, are they going to spread the ball like that? Are they going to be doing stuff? Yeah, so, it was just football. A lot of turnovers. Like, they were stripping balls and throwing horrible passes.
Preseason,
It was just a mess. Not much indication for fantasy, but at least football's back, baby.
Football's back.
What other news have we been missing? Aaron Rodgers signed. He's going to be playing. That's what we need.
That's what we've been kind of predicting anyway, so...
Yeah.
That's big news for the Packers, for Aaron Rodgers, and for Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams.
All of them.
So all the Packers and fantasy-wise kind of solidifies where we put them at least.
Gives a nice thumbs up there. I believe Aaron Rodgers, he's a top 10 quarterback for me for fantasy this year, right?
Yeah, he's probably top 7, 6 safely, and obviously has potential to be number 1. Like, he's just coming off an MVP season.
Yep.
So
we'll see. Be sure you pay attention to Aaron Rodgers in your drafts this season. Aaron Jones, he goes up in my rankings. I don't even know where I ranked him at, but to me, it's like a top 5 type deal.
Yeah.
Now that he's back, so I really like Aaron Jones this season. Anything else? Julio Jones to the Titans.
For Tannehill, big bump.
Big bump for Tannehill.
I don't think much happens to Brown. If anything, I think Julio probably goes down for me because Titans don't pass as much.
Yeah.
I think A.J. Brown will still be their number 1 guy.
Yep.
But they'll both have potential to be top 10 receivers because they're the only guys to throw the ball to.
Are you staying away from them in drafts at all?
For their ADPs, kind of. Julio, he's always there in the 6th round, 5th, 6th round. It feels like.
Yeah.
And I want it to because it's Julio in the 5th and 6th, but there's just other guys. And then A.J. Brown's going middle 2nd, and I typically just don't want to pay for him there.
Yeah, so in an ideal draft situation, where would you take either of those receivers?
A.J., I'm looking for him in probably the 3rd round. And then Julio, 6th round.
Yeah.
But it's neither of them will be there.
Yep.
So I probably won't end up drafting either of them because, I'm looking at running backs early and then receivers later, and neither of them are going to be there.
Do you think Julio Jones finishes top 10 this year?
No.
Heard it here first.
Maybe.
It's just weird because he's always finished top 10 unless
I think when we did the top 10 rankings and he was on the Falcons, and I said yeah.
Yeah. But it's different
and now. It's
just because they don't
pass the ball. They don't pass the ball as much. And so there's not as... I think I think A.J. Brown will be top 10.
Yep.
I think Julio will be 15.
Yeah. So, there you go. I agree with that completely. Any other news that we're missing here? Oh, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, still not much happening. They're saying they don't want to trade him. That's the biggest news.
They're saying they don't want to trade him, but...
They're not starting him.
They're also not starting him, and they're not taking phone calls, but they're also talking to the Eagles. Stay away from Deshaun Watson. If you're in a dynasty league, take him late. Way late.
Take him early. If you can get him, it's Dynasty. If he
How
misses
early?
a year.
How early in Dynasty?
In Dynasty, the drafts kind of are a little different. So, I don't know where he'd fall, but I'd go get, Justin Herbert or something like that, or go get, go get your other starting quarterback, and then get Watson as soon as you can after that.
Sure. Yeah. For me, I would take Watson pretty late. I would want to have at least one good quarterback 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and at least 1 good flex option before I look at Watson. That's me. That's pretty late. How many is that? 2, 4. That's like 6 players. So anything past the 6th or 7th round, I would look at Watson.
Even in redraft, it's like I might pick him up off waivers and just hold him.
Yeah, just keep a bench spot for him.
Like, because all right, yeah, worst case scenario, he doesn't play. Like, okay, you didn't spend a draft pick on him.
Yeah.
Like, you can trade him, you can do whatever with him, but yeah, I'd probably just pick him up off waivers even and hold him.
Yep. So we got 4 weeks of preseason, and then it is week 1 of the NFL 2021 season. I'm pumped. I'm excited. They've added a game this year. Don't forget that. It doesn't really make much impact on the fantasy world.
Just change your playoff settings.
Yeah, just check your playoff settings. Today we decided to be fun to talk about the NFC's running backs. We're going to go from each division and look at all 4 teams in each division and see who is 1, 2, 3, and 4 in all those divisions. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the NFC North.
NFC North is fun.
I like it.
A lot of running backs.
I like it. They got the Vikings, the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions. Who do you got at number 1?
I mean, yeah, that's Dalvin for sure out of them. Like, not much to say about it. Like,
yeah, it's Dalvin.
They run the ball a lot, and he's really good, and he catches the ball a lot.
So PPR league, he's great. Yeah. He's a top 5 running back this year, top 3.
I'm taking him second.
Yeah. So good option there, Dalvin Cook. Number 2, we have Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Yep, same deal. I mean,
yeah, and now Aaron Rodgers is back, so Aaron Jones.
Either one of those
just
guys
solidifies them in the top 10. Like, they'll be in the red zone more. Their offense will be more explosive. Aaron Jones will therefore have more opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to catch the ball too. Also, his situation got better because Jamal Williams is gone.
Yeah, you still have A.J. Dillon, which people like and believe in, but I'm just like, if A.J. Dillon was that good, we would have saw him more last year.
Yeah,
we didn't see that much from him.
And last year, I mean, to me, it seemed like in all the years of splitting touches with other running backs, they gave Jamal Williams a lot of touches.
Yeah, and he always gets some.
And Aaron still was top 10.
Yeah,
so,
Aaron seems to miss 2 to 3 games every year, so it's kind of nice to have the backup there. Like, I've had Jamal Williams help me through some weeks, but I'm like, the only reason I'd ever draft A.J. Dillon is if I had Aaron Jones.
Right.
And I just wanted the handcuff just to be safe.
Yeah. So, and then number 3, we have, I went David Montgomery with Chicago Bears. Who'd you go with?
Monty.
Yeah, he was number 4. So, I mean, a great running back. That was a situation where everything went right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the guy to promise you that happens again this year. We talked, Tariq Cohen's back. And honestly, David Montgomery's been kind of unimpressive most of his career, but last year was it. Like, last year
it was only like the back 5 games of last year. And and the great part of that was during the fantasy playoffs, so he won a lot of people leagues. And so that's probably like real enticing.
Yeah.
You have that fun memory of Montgomery winning you the league last year, but I don't predict him repeating that. I kind of like his value because in a lot of mock drafts I'm getting him in the 3rd or 4th round.
You're getting him late. A lot of people are sleeping on him.
Like, I'll take him in the 3rd or 4th, but I'm not going to spend a 2nd round pick on him.
Or someone does something weird and spends a 1st and 2nd round, and it doesn't pay off, and you ended up with Austin Eckler, or someone really good that pays off. Yeah,
and then Cohen's just interesting. You got to think about Cohen because he had the 2 years prior to that, he had 70+ receptions both times, and he's a nice little guy to have on your roster, but like he's gonna take away touches from Montgomery.
He's
100%.
A bench spot for me, but he's a bench player.
Yeah.
That week that you have a guy out, throw him in the flex. He's gonna get you at least 8 to 15 points.
Or he might pop off. He does that every once in a while. So it's like it's a nice guy to have on your roster just for some depth. But I'm not hell bent on getting him anywhere.
Yeah, and then to me, just as uncomfortable I am with Montgomery, like to me he's a 4th rounder. DeAndre Swift also kind of like a 3rd, 4th rounder. DeAndre Swift had a great finishing season last year with Adrian Peterson not taking as many touches. Like they started feeding DeAndre a little bit more, and he played pretty well, I thought.
He played great. The Lions as a whole, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. They're saying Swift's going to be the bell cows, and they also said something about Swift maybe being injured. So there's been some weird reports coming out from them, but it's like Jared Goff's there now, and then Dan Campbell, and you don't have any receivers. Like your best receiver is a rookie right now, St. Brown, and then you have Hawkinson, and so it's just like right now I'm like I don't know what's happening in Detroit, so I don't entirely want to spend high capital getting their guys. but I still like Swift.
Yeah.
So it's like I still believe in him. So, but
sort of the
I don't
same
know
thing
how-
for Chicago too. I mean, they got a new quarterback, Andy Dalton. They also got Justin Fields. So
who could steal some touchdowns in the red zone.
let's assume both those teams. Let's assume both those teams' offenses get better. Would you take DeAndre or Montgomery?
I'd probably take Montgomery just because I know what it looks like as him as a starting running back. I don't know what DeAndre Swift starting for a whole season looks like with the Lions.
Same. So we'll see. They're both great backs. We'll see what happens. All right, we're going to the NFC South now.
Sure.
So we have
CMC.
So
Kamara.
the Carolina Panthers, Kamara with the Saints,
Falcons. And
Leonard
Bucks.
Fournette, Rojo with the Bucks, and then we go Mike Davis with the Falcons.
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about here. I mean, Christian McCaffrey over
Take
Alvin
him
Kamara
number 1 overall.
every time. Alvin Kamara, he's probably won't be top. He could be top 5 this year.
Running backs, he'll probably
he'll
I think
still
he'll
be top
5.
10. He's got Latavius Murray in the backfield, but that doesn't really mean much. Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. Last year they gave it to Rojo and he didn't show up. And then Leonard Fournette showed up big time in the playoffs. He had a lot of touches, a lot of touchdowns. I like Leonard Fournette, but also we still just have it's such a crowded backfield.
Well,
They also got
and
Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, and they pass the ball.
Yeah.
Like they just like to pass the ball.
So it's just like the same thing with
I'm not touching the Bucks backs.
It's the same thing with the Patriots backs with Tom Brady there. They just weren't much ever. And then we have Mike Davis, who is old, and I just don't think he's going to fit the Falcons' offense very well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because they just got the Titans' old OC as their head coach.
Yeah.
And so everyone's loving Mike Davis this offseason. I don't believe in him at all.
Yeah.
And I don't even think he'll keep the starting job. That's just how I feel. I think they got a really good rookie, Javion Hawkins.
Yeah.
And I'm predicting Hawkins probably takes that starting job, but still Falcons running backs as a whole, I'm not even touching. Same with the Bucks. I think they have good guys, but we don't know who's starting.
Just have no clue.
And they like to pass the ball. I'm not touching their backs.
Let's not risk it.
And so McCaffrey, and then Chuba Hubbard's an interesting one. He's really good, a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
Out of OK State. So he's an interesting handcuff to have behind McCaffrey.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then, Kamara, yeah. What I've kind of realized with Kamara is I don't think he's had a 1,000-yard rushing season his whole career, which is kind of wild.
Crazy.
But he's had 80-plus receptions all 4 years he's been in the league.
It's
81,
a wide
81, 81,
receiver
83.
in the halfback position.
Yeah, and so I'm like,
awesome.
he's, to me, because, he's getting a lot of touches, but I just don't feel like he's taking that beating like other running backs are. So I'm looking at him, I was like, he might be like a Marshall Faulk type of guy where he just is good forever and for fantasy because he runs the ball and he doesn't necessarily run it super powerfully, but he gets touchdowns and he gets catches. And I don't feel like he takes a lot of hits. And so I kind of like Kamara for the long haul.
Yeah, Kamara's a stud, and he's going to be for a while. He was kind of due for an injury, in my opinion, and it finally happened. And I bet he comes back super strong this year. So real excited for him. NFC East, that is Kirtley's team. He is a Philadelphia Eagles guy.
Yeah.
Who is your number one in the East?
Zeke. No, Saquon. Just kidding.
You're going Saquon over Zeke?
Yeah. It's weird right now because they just said Saquon probably won't play till week 3, so it kind of sets him back a little bit. But we've just seen his potential to, doesn't matter how bad the team is or the O-line or what the play, busted play, whatever, Saquon can just break off an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of explosiveness and, you're going to draft Zeke and Saquon around the same area. They're both falling running backs 5 to 6, and they're kind of flip-flopping everywhere I see. But I think Saquon's ceiling is definitely RB1. Zeke's ceiling is probably RB1. That's just how I feel about it. And I'm like, Zeke probably has a safer floor because he's going to get receptions, and Cowboys have a real offense. He hasn't really had any injuries or any major injuries his whole career. But so it's a safer floor, but I was like, yeah, I just like Saquon's upside a lot more than Zeke's.
Yeah, it's I'm real torn because Saquon is hurt and he's had a full year to recover and he still hasn't. So that just to me is man, this was a major surgery and a major deal. And they're saying right now he's not ruled out week 1, but he's might be back week 3. So I just have no clue how to feel about Saquon and the horrible New York Giants team. I like Zeke better, so I'm going Zeke number 1, Saquon number 2. The thing about Zeke is they're talking about splitting touches with Tony Pollard. The only thing is I don't think Tony Pollard is a great running back. I think he will be a good backup, and they're still going to just feed Zeke. And he also lost a bunch of weight. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that means he's faster and more agile or he's more susceptible to injury. Either way, both of them kind of weird me out. I'm going to go Zeke over Saquon. NFC East, so then we got
Gibson
and Miles Sanders. I'm going to go Gibson. I like Washington. I like what Washington had last year, and I like their offseason moves. I think their franchise made a lot of good moves this year, and I love that Ryan Fitzpatrick's there. I think they got good receivers. I'm excited for Washington. I think they have a good team this year.
Riverboat Ron.
Yeah.
We saw with Gibson last year. I mean, he finished, I think, running back 13.
He had a great finishing year, yeah.
He just scores touchdowns. Like, that's kind of his thing. But, yeah, they have other backs, and they're splitting touches last year. I think this year Gibson's going to be, like, their number one guy, and they're going to use him and all that. And so, I like Gibson a lot, especially for where you're getting him. He too.
Where are you wanting to draft him?
Third round.
Third round?
I love him in third round. Depending on your leagues, he might go in the second, but, like, I feel like in a lot of mock drafts I've been doing, his ADP I think is in the third round right now, which I love for that value because he's the same guy, same kind of thing. He's got a high ceiling, I think.
High ceiling, still kind of a question mark. Let people sleep on him. Miles Sanders, I am probably not going to draft him ever in any league.
I like Sanders, which I know I'm an Eagles fan, and I've watched a lot of Sanders, and I've spent a lot of fantasy capita drafting him.
What was that word?
Capital? I like to say capita.
Capita.
But anyway, I don't know. It's just like we've seen it where when he's in, he has that ability to break off the long runs. I feel like every week it was like, 60-yard run for Miles Sanders. But then he's hurt for 4 weeks after that. And it's like he just hasn't stayed on the field. Now, like as soon as he stays on the field, and we've seen his ability to catch passes. And with how weird the Eagles' whole team was last year, too, and, like, different quarterbacks, and the offensive scheme wasn't really hitting and everything, and, like, I don't know if it'll be better this year necessarily, but it can't be worse. And Sanders was doing great
Let's go ahead
in that.
Knock on wood there.
It can't be worse. It was pretty bad last year. I watched just about every game. But Sanders, he's in that third or fourth round, and it's like, I don't mind taking him there.
Yeah.
It's like, because who am I going to miss out on if I take him in the fourth round? I'm going to miss out on, like...
Mike Davis, bro.
Yeah, like, I don't care. Or, like, Myles Gaskin. I don't care. Like, I'd rather spend that pick on Sanders because we've seen his ability just to break off those long runs and have those big games. And I like him.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been out on him. He had a great season once upon a time, and I just don't know what's left of him. Also, where's Boston Scott landing?
Nowhere. I mean, he's with the Eagles, but
doesn't mean anything.
He doesn't. He doesn't take away touches really. He takes away some third down snaps, but not a lot.
Nothing major. So, to me, in the NFC West is the toughest conference as far as ranking these running backs.
Because they're all weird.
They're all weird.
They're all good.
They're all good. Like, they're all top 20 guys, and then shoot, I mean, if they all have the best season that they've ever had, they're all top 15, so but there's that issue where they're in either a crowded backfield or they're injury prone. So let's just start from the top. For me, the number one running back in the NFC West is Darrell Henderson. I loved him last year when he got the opportunity, and when he had the opportunity, he played great. They were using him in the red zone. He wasn't much of a pass catcher, but, man, he was a bulldog, and I just like how the Rams run their offense and how they use their running backs. So, for me, it's Darrell Henderson. Right now they're saying it's a committee. I just think last year they tried the whole committee thing, and then they realized it was Darrell.
They never do committee. They always say we'll split, but it's always been like Todd Gurley every touch or Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown. It's like whoever they pick, that's their guy. And like,
and there's no way of predicting that
until they're like, oh, you kind of
basis.
suck, and then they just pick a different guy.
Yeah, Cam Akers had a great finishing season last year, great postseason, but I mean he's hurt now, and it's Darryl. Like I don't know that they're gonna go with Xavier Jones, but we'll have to find out.
Yeah, they're saying that Jones has been impressive, but we haven't really. He's been on the team for this will be his second year, and granted they had a lot of backs last year, so it's not like surprising we didn't see him.
Right.
But I was like, if he was that good, it's kind of the same thing. I feel like we would have saw him more if they really. But they said he's been really impressive.
And who did everyone draft last year? They drafted Malcolm Brown, and then they got Cam Akers.
Yeah.
But then who finished out the season? It was Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers. Who's hurt now? Cam Akers. Where's Malcolm Brown? We don't know. It's Darrell Henderson.
He's Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
I think.
All to say, it's Darrell Henderson this year, in my opinion. Yeah. Who do you have at number one?
Probably Anderson. I mean, kind of just because all these teams like to run the ball, like minus the Cardinals.
Right.
So yeah, I'm like, if he's truly their RB1, we've just seen it time and time again with the Rams. Like, whoever they're feeding the ball to, they feed the ball to, and they give it to him in the red zone, and they get touchdowns. And offense might look a little different with Matt Stafford. Maybe they throw more in the red zone because they trust him or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's Henderson for me at one.
Henderson, yeah. For number two, I'm going with my Seahawks, Chris Carson. Chris Carson is always the guy that gets hurt. Here's the thing. Every running back in this league is going to get hurt and miss 1 or 2 games. Chris Carson only misses 3 or 4 games every year. So already knowing that, and knowing the fact that every year he's played that many games and has still been a top 10, top 15 running back, it's like, understand that and then draft him accordingly. Because when he plays, he's great. When he's injured, well, he's not playing. So it's pretty simple. The thing about it this year is he's had a lot of time to recover. They also gave him a 2-year extension, and they don't have any backups that are noteworthy. Where in the past, like they were like, oh, Rashad Penny he's our new guy. He was our first-round pick or whatever. And then Travis Homer. Right now, their backups are DJ Dallas. I guess Rashad Penny's still there, but I haven't heard a thing about him. Like I feel like they're just not going to play him. And then Alex Collins. And everything I've heard is they like DJ Dallas, but we saw him last year when he had the opportunity. He was just kind of unimpressive. So I think Chris Carson is set up for a great big year. And then just like fingers crossed he stays healthy. If he gets hurt again this year, to me it's like next year I don't know what to do with him because he's getting old too. So he's like at that age where he's 27. So it's like 27, 28. You still got a few good years. 29, 30 at the running back. It's like, all right, we got to move on.
It's like, I'm going to put Chris Carson first because of, again, I keep saying it, but because of his upside, or second, about before these other guys. I'm going to say Chris Carson, but he's still not a guy I feel good drafting unless I'm getting him like late and can just not really care about that pick that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, his upside's insane. He's just always hurt, and I was like, I feel like I can't rely on him to play a full season.
You can't.
Or especially to be there in the playoffs.
True. Yeah. It's a weird one. So, I mean, he can get you there, but he's not guaranteed to help you finish. So, draft him accordingly. Either take him when you have no other running backs to take, or take him super late because he's still there. Right, I would say. So, third for me is going to be Raheem Mostert / Trey Sermon. They're already saying Mostert's going to be the starting guy, and the 49ers are very well known to be efficient runners. So if Mostert is starting and he's getting the bulk of the touches, I love it. Mostert's a great running back. I'm really excited about him. I have way too many shares of him, though, because when he does get hurt, because he is 28, 29, I don't know how old, it's going to be Trey Sermon. And Trey Sermon is a beast. Played at Oklahoma and then transferred to Ohio State. We saw him last year, and was he in the national championship game? Yeah, Trey Sermon was. And so, I mean, great specimen, great running back. The thing is, we don't know how they're going to split the touches, and we don't know when Raheem Mostert's going to get hurt. So, with that being said, draft accordingly.
Yeah, I'd probably go Edmonds first.
You'd go Chase Edmonds before both those guys?
Yeah. We saw what Drake did last year. Drake was a proficient back last year, Kenyon Drake, that is. And played really well with the Cardinals, so we know they can use their running backs, and we know that similarly with the Niners. But it's like then Mostert's hurt, and then like I feel like the Niners have never had a running back start 4 games in a row, like in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like people are always getting hurt, and so I was like, I don't know what's going on there, but it scares me. And it's like Sermon, I like Sermon a lot. If I can draft Sermon in the 10th or 11th round, I'm gonna do it.
Sure.
And I'm gonna keep him on my bench until Mostert gets injured.
Until he gets that start.
And then I'm putting in Sermon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just kind of where I feel with those guys. Edmonds too. Me saying that, I'm not drafting him super high. They have James Conner and they love to pass the ball. But I mean, like we saw a little bit of Edmonds last year, and he's pretty productive. And then like I said, we saw what Kenyon Drake did in that offense last year as well.
Yeah.
So
that's all we got for you guys. It's pretty straightforward. The NFC running backs per division. Yeah, stay tuned for a show next week. We're going to kick off this football season strong, and we'll be bringing you episodes every single week. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching us on the No Huddle Fantasy Football Podcast.